Good morning, everybody. Welcome to 1 Million Cups. It is a pleasure to have everyone. Today we have a great speaker. We have Elijah Lewis with Two Bros Coffee. We're super excited. I've actually had the pleasure of trying a little bit of his coffee. It's fantastic, by the way. So I hope you guys are excited and looking forward to a great speaker. Elijah, without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yes, hey, thank you. And good morning to everybody that's out there listening, 1 Million Cups. So my name is Elijah Lewis. I am currently here in Fayetteville. I live on the western side by Rayford, Hoke Loop area. And so my thing is I am a former defense contractor, federal employee, and I created Two Bros Coffee Co. And so the thing was, of course, growing up in different impoverished areas, especially like back home, like we were lacking coffee companies and just lacking actual places to where you can go have a fresh cup, but also have like, your sit down area where you can learn, read, or just have like a mellow spot. And so one of the things is I created Two Bros basically to import fresh coffee because hold on, let me see. I'm sorry. Hopefully that's better. So one of the things is I always tell people you've never had a fresh cup of coffee. And what I mean by that is usually when you have a cup of coffee, they'll have the date on there from when it was roasted or when it was processed, but it's truly not fresh unless you get it straight from the ground to your cup to you. And that is my model of what we do. We import fresh coffee straight from the farmers in Africa. Right now, I have Tanzania, I have Kenya. I'm working on a couple of other things. I'm working on getting some Afghanistan teas and some Turkish teas in. So that'd be another good product as well. And so my thing is just to basically give you products that you've never had or heard of in the coffee world. As far as like we have pre-sweetened coffees. And the thing is, I want to get people to drink a black cup of coffee, right? No heavy creams, no heavy sugars, none of that, just sugary stuff, just a good cup of coffee. So we have pre-sweetened coffees. Created a coffee butter spread for you if you like bagels, if you like toast. We have coffee butter spreads. I have especially with me being downrange a lot, there was a need for a coffee MRE. So I created a coffee MRE, and it's a coffee on the go. Especially it can be used for, I'm in the process right now of, I have a couple of friends that are in Poland that deployed there. So I'm in the process right now of trying to get my logistics up so I can send them some coffee over there. And also so they can try out the Two Bros Go Packs. So basically the Go Packs is, I want to grab one for you real quick. So basically the Go Pack is a Two Bros coffee pack with coffee already in there. It requires no electricity, no nothing. All you have to do is put hot water in here. Some people put cold water in there, depends on how you want it. All you have to do is put the water in there, seal it back up, and then pour it into your cup. Or some people, they're drinking it straight out the pack. So we have a couple of different products that basically my goal is, I know I'm just going a little fast, a little nervous speaker. My goal is basically to revolutionize the coffee world, coffee industry, make products that are of great, convenience and of great quality, and just give you the best of what you haven't had yet. And that's where Two Bros comes in. So I'm looking right now to open up a building. My biggest thing that I lack is the business structure side. Like I can come with ideas every day. I have a whole book of at least 30 other projects that I haven't dropped. Half of them I have worked on. They do work. They are good and legit. my wife tells me to slow down because, we have so many products and we don't want too much stuff out there without the correct push and marketing, and just having products sitting, not being used correctly, or having it to where other people can just come in and take the product ideas and then run with it on themselves. So my biggest thing that I'm lacking right now is actual, I guess, business structure, leadership in a way. Like I can lead, but I haven't ran a soon to be multi-million-dollar business. And so that's where I need the help at, from seasoned vets, as well as some capital and funding. Right now, trying to open up my first actual pickup location. I have a location in mind, and it's right here on the border of Rayford and Cumberland. And so with that, I have a couple of ideas of what I'm trying to do. Again, I started this while I was literally in Afghanistan, still deployed. And I had it to where my long childhood friend was helping me with it. That's why we hence call it Two Bros. But of course, my wife was helping me as well. My strengths and weaknesses are, my strengths are, my mind is constantly going. So I'm constantly writing down new product ideas. I do have like a seller's mentality. I can try to get out there and push the product. Again, my weaknesses are, there's one of me, I'm everywhere, all over the place. Trying to pull it all back in. And also I am trying to just gain more fruitful insights on running a business and to expand and let this thing take off. So again, I didn't know if we were going to have questions. So again, my thing is, I'm just really in need of business help structure, somebody to like just sort of help guide me, especially with marketing. That is one of my biggest weaknesses as well, because like I'll get on Instagram, I'm doing my videos, my contents, things like that. But then again, there's only so much time in a day, so many hours, only so much you can do as one person. So that's what I'm trying to do now, is build my team, get a team, and get around people that I could get some knowledge from and help this thing go.
So Elijah, I have a couple of questions. So you haven't opened a brick and mortar yet, correct?
Not yet.
Not yet, but you anticipate to do that, correct?
Yes, I talked with them last week, and I've talked with a couple of different people. I was a little, I guess, because like one of the things is you hear people's different points of views of, hey, don't do a brick and mortar, don't get all that overcost, just get a trailer, you can move around, this or that, which I understand that completely, you know. And then at the same time, I was just like, well, with a small brick and mortar, I'm able to do a little more, I guess, whether it's a package facility, like I can do a lot more than, just what I'm doing now. And so that's where I'm a little stuck at on versus, yes, if I get a trailer, I can take Two Bros literally anywhere on the road and just go with it.
So I'm assuming that your closest competitors or your competition is Starbucks, right? So how will
Yes.
you differentiate yourself from Starbucks coffee? What's different about Two Bros versus Starbucks?
Well, for one, excuse my language when I say this, coffee's just damn better. For one, you're so the thing is, what I've learned from them is what you're getting from majority of these big brand companies is you're getting mixed blend beans. Meaning, so for one of the things that I'm trying to do now and that I've established with the future success of growth in mind is locking down where I get my product from, straight from the farmers. So with Starbucks, what they're doing and what other companies are doing, once you grow and you grow beyond a certain means, everybody knows your quality goes down, right? So with that, because you're trying to mass produce. So what they're doing is they're buying the lower grade. Right now, all I have is grade AA and AB, and that's all you're gonna get. So for Starbucks, Starbucks is not doing holy grade AA. They're doing like a grade AA with a grade lower than AB, and they're blending these coffees and mixing them. So you're getting an actual blend mix and not a true, raw cup of coffee of a good grade. And then not only that, when you look at a lot of the stuff of what you're getting out of these cups of coffee, half of the cup is not even coffee. It's more than sugar and cream and froth. So, one of the things is I just try to stay with right now of our products of the butter spreads, the coffee on the goes, the pre-sweetened coffees. We have different chocolate covered beans, CBD products. I'm touching on so much within the coffee world to where it's like, okay, I basically put it in my mind to where I'll blow you out the water just by pure products and product strengths, if that makes sense. Even though I'm small, like my mind is a little bit of, okay, I'll just drop better products than what you have. And that way I'll win because my products will be superior if that makes sense. At least that's my vision. I wholeheartedly believe in it. And let me see your other question real quick.
So are you doing anything for marketing? I mean,
You said for marketing?
yeah, what kind of marketing techniques?
Right now it's just the regular go out, create some content videos, come up with a commercial in my mind, try to edit it on these multiple editorial apps, and then just post it to TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. I'm currently trying to run like ad campaigns and stuff like that. So as far as like marketing goes, I haven't really touched too heavily into it because I really didn't have a big marketing budget. My budget, once I came back from deployments and then I was here and I was trying to do this full time, I had to like really reshift and refocus and prioritize my funds as I'm literally funding my company myself. So I went to the bank one time and oh, okay, I thought I was mute. I'm sorry. I went to the bank one time and I asked for a loan. They said my debt to ratio was too high and I got declined for it, even though I showed the funds that I had. The funds that I had in my account at the time were more than the loan that I was trying to get. So I felt a little anguish and salty about that. I left, never went back, and I just funded everything myself. Now, granted, of course, if I would have had a little bit more of a like business structure or somebody helping me out, I think I would have been a little bit further. Well, I know I would have been a little further than where I am now. Again, I didn't have anybody to, because I'm not from here. I don't really converse with people from here. I'm mainly like a loner because I was always deployed. So with that, I didn't have the chance to actually have somebody here to try to run this while I was deployed. So I had to make that choice of, okay, either I'm all in with coffee or I'm all in still working for somebody else.
So, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but one of the things you can implement without it having to be like a massive like overhead cost to you, because social media is such a pertinent thing for branding and stuff. Like one of the reasons people go to Starbucks, say, is for the brand of Starbucks, not
Mhm.
necessarily the coffee itself. So branding, logo, all that is extremely important. What you can do to keep your presence up as far as like social media content is concerned, is there are applications like Business Suite where you can schedule post content out for like a month at a time, do it all in like one day, schedule it to
Mhm.
post like frequently, either every day, every other day, and follow the algorithm of time. I'm not sure what the time would look like for where you're at. But look up the algorithm for when people look at posts most frequently in your area, schedule the post to be posted at that time, and look very carefully on all like your editing and stuff. You need somebody that would be really good at editing like pictures, making stuff look appetizing. Like for instance, if you have a Samsung, take a photo of the coffee on your phone with like the food edit like filter, so that way it looks appetizing. It's got that surrounding blur, because from what I understand from what you were saying about the coffee, is the coffee's amazing. So you just need people to literally see it and like experience it without having to experience it. Once you put that out there, you'll start like probably booming a bit. Um, but social media marketing is great because like, yeah, you can spend a good deal of money to make it like top notch, buy Google ads and stuff like that. But a lot of it you can actually do with like footwork just through like social media pages themselves.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
No
Danielle.
problem.
I have one question, and then I'll turn it over to everyone else. Elijah, do you have a business plan? You seem like you're all over the place.
Yes, I'll say this. So I started one, and then I stopped, and then I recently came back to it. It's like, all right, let's get back right. Let's write it out. Let's do that. So that's what I'm currently doing again, is rewriting, like going back to ground one. I've even had people like, and I've thought about it before, but then the not quitting part of me won't let it happen. And I've been told by folks, hey, why don't you just shut down for a couple of months and then, close the doors, get everything right, and then open back up. And I slightly try, without doing that, I'm trying to just go back and rewrite everything and get everything together without having to do that. I would choose to do it that way if I didn't have to shut down. So to answer your question with a long drawn out, no, I don't.
You need one, okay?
Yes.
So, and a business plan is just a roadmap to help guide you to create a path for success, right? Doesn't mean you won't have detours along the way. If you need some help, I would be delighted to do so. We have some resources here on campus at our small business center that are free, that I would encourage you to utilize. I can provide that information to you. I would definitely reach out to them. I would also look into, there's a piece of software that you could purchase. It's called Live Plan. My students use it. It really helps you to create that business plan that you really need. So I'm going to turn it over to everyone else. And also, one other comment. I looked on your website and I tried to call the number that is on your website, and it's not in service. So please fix that too. Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Daniel.
No, go ahead. I'll go next. So I have a question as far as to like, how are you branding your coffee and stuff like that? Because one of the things that you could use to your advantage is the fact that you are ex-military. You could seriously use that to your benefit of being like, hey, instead of going to the multi-chain national like Starbucks and stuff, I'm a local veteran building this business and stuff like that. You could really use that to your advantage because people want a good story behind what they're buying. People want to buy local. People want to, experience what you're experiencing, and you could seriously use the veteran angle to your benefit, and put it up there like as in your history and stuff. So when you're building your website, the pages, I haven't yet But if you're building your business, you're building your logo and stuff, you might want to angle around the fact that you are a veteran, because that could help boost your business some.
So so this was always like my thought with that particular thing. I'm not prior military. I am a federal. I've always been attached and deployed with the military for the past 8-10 years. So I'm a veteran in that regard. So now I've had other people, they're like, well, no, you've deployed with us. You've been on assignments with us. You've literally had uniforms on. You're a veteran. Like, get your status. Now, the other thing is, I get it with branding and marketing. I don't know if it's just my thought process on it right now. Is like, because I knew a couple of the Black Rifle folks, right? I worked with a couple of them, contractors or whatnot, and just, you know how like I sort of wanted to at first just not really rely on the whole, rah veteran military and just put it out here. But I get it, because I have a lot of my veteran friends are like, hey, like, you gotta start using your, like your meal connects. And I was a little reluctant to use that, again, because of the fact that I wasn't truly meal per se, even though I was attached to them, I deployed with them, and I was alongside of them in different hotspots. So, I mean, that was always my take on it, especially because of those particular factors. And, that's just where it was. But I will definitely consider that, and more than likely probably do that. But does that make sense though?
It does. And I mean, I totally understand your apprehension if you don't consider yourself like truly a veteran. I totally understand that. You were out there. I do kind of agree with your co-people that you should be able to consider yourself of that rank. I would still try to think about it, and possibly even like, if you have a somewhat guilt complex about using that to your advantage, maybe when you get a bit more income going in, you could do like a partial, like partial nonprofit thing, where you do like, say, 5% of your purchase goes to veterans or the VA or something like that.
Mhm.
And then you could also get a lot of grants for that if you go down like the nonprofit route as well. But that would, I think, ease your mind a little bit about that, like, guilt about you not necessarily being military, while at the same time also really helping veterans and possibly getting you grants to help with funding,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Yes.
I'm gonna agree with Danielle a little bit, because Black Rifle is actually my favorite coffee at the moment.
Oh my gosh, we gotta change that.
At the moment. But the thing that really got me to buy the coffee is not only are they veteran owned, but they're also firefighter owned, and give back to first responders as well. So I feel like that would kind of ease your mind a little bit more, because it does include first responders and veterans.
Okay.
If I may interject, to go on what Elizabeth and Danielle are saying, Mr. Lewis, you are on the right path by not saying that you are, in quote, a military veteran. And to go on what Danielle was stating, but I think you have earned the right to be able to at least state that you were there as a military contractor, because with that, even though you are not military, the military will look at you as that you are a fellow brother in arms, so to speak, as far as you were a civilian who chose to go there on your own. You were not forced by orders or military deployment, and that will work greatly to your advantage. And this is coming from a retiree. So that might be something that you do want to add to your marketing, as Danielle and Elizabeth had hinted on.
So with that, you would just say like Afghan, Iraq veteran, or so like you. So basically, you would still use all of the same. I'm a veteran of the Iraq, Afghanistan war, or just without actually putting "mil" in there, right?
What I would do is I would put that you were a military contractor. By putting the term military contractor, I mean, that opens a wide field for not just military potential customers, but those that are also military contractors to say, okay, this person voluntarily chose to put in himself in harm's way to do a job. Okay, that earns the respect. So just that terminology of military contractor will open those doors to you, for you, to the hearts and minds of the military contractors and the military. Even though you were not literally a soldier, you were there with us. You have a right to be recognized, even though it will be a different category as those who were forced to go there because of orders and deployment.
Right. Okay, well, thank you.
I'd like to turn the conversation for Ken. I'm curious because you are importing your coffee from other countries. What is your profit margin like for your business?
So right now, I am actually. So I was importing with another buddy of mine's. He is another contractor as well, and so like when we all decided to start this thing. Basically, I said, hey, I'm gonna do the coffee company. I had another friend who's like, well, I'll start the roasting section. I'll roast for you. So it is like a kind of, all right, let's start our own little industry thing and help each other, you know? So what we were doing, he was importing because he started importing first. He was getting everything, and I was just, like paying a lower margin per pound buying it from him. He's technically right now talking about going back out. So I'm right now getting my actual first full-on shipment by myself from Kenya, and it's about to be arriving soon. So my profit margin from that load is I'm looking at about 25,000 profit from this load. It'll cost me roughly around, with shipping and everything else coming in, I want to say I'm paying like 5,600 for the load. I'm looking at about $25,000 for profit off this particular load. So this load as well, again, it's like the I call it my game changer load. Because like I've been doing a lot of my other coffee loads. I've been staying in the couple 100-pound ranges, and just doing it that way, wholesaling to other coffee shops as well. So now with this one, I'm going over a couple 1,000 pounds in load. So I'll actually be able to do more wholesaling with other businesses and actually bring in more profit straight to Two Bros instead of busting it down with my other friend's company and stuff like that. So my profit margin will actually increase significantly within the next month or so once it gets here.
The concern I have, though, is that you have only mentioned the cost of acquiring the coffee itself. You have other additional costs of running a business, and especially if you're going to look at bricks and mortar, it's going to add in overhead to your costs as well. I think you need to go back to that business plan, like Ms. Fresher said, and finish it out, because you need to factor in all of your costs, not just the cost of obtaining the coffee itself, and including paying yourself. Sometimes
I haven't paid myself.
That.
I have not paid myself, and I've basically gotten this thing to be self-sufficient to where, okay, the orders come in, all the money's coming in, and I'll just rebuy supplies, so I think I'm just trying to get myself out of this little loop to where it's like, okay, instead of just buying more supplies, let me, let me put more into it. It would help. I'm currently unemployed at the moment because I decided to go full on coffee and it was extremely hard. So I'm trying to look for like, short term, little small maintenance gigs or little part-time jobs. So, I mean, that would actually help more. So I can put more of my capital back into this thing. Again, I was just in a tricky situation because my deployments allowed me to get to where I'm at, but they've hindered me to where I'm at now as well. Because I'm not from here. I don't know anybody here. So, I mean, I know a couple of people. I'm trying to get them to, come in, work with me, and they're trying to do some things to help out. But again, it's just because I didn't have a business plan. Finances were everywhere. I was just getting things. And I think, again, that's why I'm in the reason where I'm at now. So that's why I'm seeking help and just.
Another,
Kind of like when you go to visit the bank that you mentioned, and they went, no, 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 no. If you do not have some well put together, well thought out financials, they're going to go, no, 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 because they don't want to take the risk on you because they thought they kind of have the impression you haven't thought it out. So I would strongly encourage you that we have lots of resources to help Ms. Rescher and Mr. Mears sitting over in that corner. Both teach small business here. In addition to that, we have a small business center that's absolutely free of charge. And they can help you with that. They not only have workshops and seminars, but they also do one-on-one business counseling. But if you're going to advance this and you're going to look at expanding what you're doing, you're going to have to put together some solid financials because people will not want to take a risk on you if they don't feel like you have really thought about it. It's kind of one of those things that if you've not thought about it, oh my God, what could come up, because we haven't even talked about your packaging costs and all the other costs involved. So I think you need time into that before you get larger because you need to get a handle on it and see what's going to happen if you add a bricks and mortar to this and that you can. That's the nice thing about financials. Once you got in a place, you could do all kinds of pro forma of what if to see what would happen as a result. And you want to do that before you become homeless.
Right.
Another thing you might want to look into as far as like on small scale before brick and mortar is, for instance, like farmers markets. They do like the weekend, like local trade things and stuff like that, trade shows, etc. You can find all that information probably on whatever your local town Facebook is. Find when they're doing those events and then bring your product to them. That way you're also getting an established amount of money coming in that's pretty consistent probably when selling at like a farmer's market, because you're going to get the clientele there that's looking for something unique and individual aspect.
Right.
And you'll also build a local clientele up, which might lead into larger businesses looking at you. Because I know some like grocery stores and stuff like that, they like buying from local vendors and stuff like that. So that's just something to look into to, get your footing, getting where it's going and stuff like that without necessarily having to do a lot of extra immediately, is just having your product at those kind of events.
Okay.
Elijah.
Hey, how are you?
Thanks for the presentation. I'm going to tell you something. You're a true entrepreneur. You know why? Because true entrepreneurs don't pay themselves in the first year.
Yeah.
I will tell you that. You're true. It's definitely true. Like Dean Burns said, you are the perfect candidate for our small business center here at FTCC. You don't know anybody in Fayetteville. You only know a couple people. I'm going to tell you something. We've got a center here that will welcome you and help you along the way with your idea and your passion. That's why they're here. They're here for folks just like you. That's why 1 Million Cups is here. That's why we're here this morning, is for folks just like you. And I wanted to share that with you. I want to thank you for your service in the Afghanistan theater. Quentin made a couple comments about, about your military relationship as a contractor, I'm going to ask you, who really is your target market? Who are you trying to sell your cup of coffee to? Who is it?
Everybody, anybody that drinks coffee.
Everybody. You said something about brick and mortar stores. I live in Hope Mills. I have seen 3 entrepreneurial coffee companies start and fold within the last 2 years. I'm not saying that that's not an option for you, but I will tell you this, that if you're looking for brick and mortar, you best look for location. That's
right.
Probably, that is a key, but I don't want you to overgrow your company. I think a lot of folks on here told you to start small, build your base, build up your clientele, and then think about maybe going to a brick and mortar.
Right.
Just a thought. I mean, Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts they're cornering the markets all the time. Every time you see, we've got a new one opening up in Hope Mills.
It get a little depressing. Every time I pull out the driveway, I see a new sign going up. I'm like, oh, is that coffee?
We got a Starbucks that just is getting ready to open in Hope Mills. Folks are begging for a Dunkin' Donuts to come to the Traymore area, which is a pretty big area right now. There was a couple coffee companies down there, and they left. So there's a couple spaces there that are open, especially one that there was a coffee company there. You gotta look at that competition too, man. You gotta.
That's why I got to get out there fast.
Get out there.
Yes, sir.
I like that tea idea you got too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you may have something there. So anyway, those are my comments. And again, I appreciate you taking the time and sharing your idea and experience with us.
Hey, thank y'all. Thank y'all. Also, I would like to set up and get y'all. I have a new product. I didn't want to talk about it too much on here, but I have a product, and it's a coffee syrup. What would you guys think about that? What would you guys think about eating waffles or pancakes and you have an actual coffee
delicious.
syrup?
That sounds fantastic. That sounds delicious.
So like,
Lewis, would this be under the same suit as the Arabic coffee that you get in Abu Dhabi?
No. This is so like with some of with my Arabic coffees and teas coming in, that's later. This one right now is made from the Tanzanian coffee and Kenyan coffee. But like so my other background is my family owned catering businesses and janitorial business, stuff like that. So I always learn how to cook. So I'm always constantly doing something. But when I came up with this, well, my wife, she actually came up with it. I won't take the credit away from her, but she came up with the coffee syrup. And she came up with it. I start cooking and doing it. And I got to get this to you guys. I have to get this to you guys. So I'll definitely bring a couple bottles down there, and I would definitely love y'all's feedback. And I would like y'all's feedback on the butter spreads if you haven't had them.
Elijah, can I cut in here a second?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
One of the first things you said when we started this program is that you said you have sheets and sheets of ideas, or some extra ideas here while you've got it. And I'm just going to tell you to stop wondering or stop imagining and start thinking. The syrup thing's really cool and everything. All of the ideas are really cool, but you've got to get your thoughts together on you need to be a horse with blinders on and rule out the crowd and start focusing on what it is that gets you to market. And I'm not hearing that. I'm hearing a lot of really great ideas and some new, those things will come. Write them down, pull them out when you need them and everything else, but you're not in a business right now. And I think Jesse probably, and to an extent, even Lori mentioning business plans and things like that, or when Cindy talks about looking at your costs and stuff like that, you need to start strategizing, putting together some tactics, putting together some operational aspects of your business. And maybe the best thing to do that is to actually sit down and at least attempt to try and do a business plan. How you can even go to a bank without a business plan is beyond my imagination, unless you've got a name attached to you. Jesse's got a great suggestion, and you've been wallowing in this, time to get serious. I would take Jesse up on his suggestion and look at the small business program that we have here and start taking some of those ideas and apply and focusing on those things that are important right now. Because I don't think you're ever going to make it to market. If I've done this. I've done this where, we have focus groups where we sit down, we exchange ideas, but we come up with something. And once we do, we start focusing on that and setting the other stuff aside. You just need focus, man. I think you got a great idea. I'm going to disagree with Jesse a little bit. I know that the competition out there in the coffee market is really heavy, but I've seen people that are very successful at it. It can make you a lot of money by getting a brick and mortar, and also working, if you want to do online stuff, to actually work out of a brick and mortar shop to actually accomplish that as well. But you need to start focusing on what kind of equipment you need, where do you need to get your supplies, what kind of processing you need to be done with your coffees, all of this stuff. And Jesse points out location is everything. Absolutely everything on a brick and mortar. And you don't have to go expensive. It doesn't have to be the ideal. It doesn't have to look like a Starbucks.
Right.
It could have a half dozen tables and there are some chairs and a counter. And you can get it done really cheaply by doing that. And it sounds like you got a little bit of money where you could actually pull it off, but I wouldn't even start without a really, really good business plan. And I would definitely take up Jesse on what he's saying. In fact, you can don't call me, call Jesse. But no, feel free to call any of us if we get you set up. But I love your ideas. I love your enthusiasm. But you got to get you got to focus and get your mind on where you need to be, where you want to go. Put your goals and objectives together and do a 5-year plan. So you know where you're going to be in a year, and you know where you're going to be in 5 years. By the way, it'll change by the time you get to the 5th year. Won't be the same as what you thought it would be, but you learn from that, and you'll grow and you'll expand. And I think you could be great. All these ideas are really great. Forget the syrup, forget all this other stuff. Focus on that great coffee you told us about, and then expand from that, is what I would say.
The other thing too is if you get into where you're starting out slow and you're going to like the farmers market, you can show a bank or a loan company, for instance, your actual profit to cost margin, because you could show how much you're selling at these local vending units and stuff. And that'll also help you put it together a plan, probably a little bit better for expanding into a larger arena like a brick and mortar building. The other thing you might want to look into too, just down the line in the future, when you get your business plan put together and you get a couple of clients under your belt and sales and stuff like that, if possible, minority loans for being a Black owned business. That's something you might want to look into as well.
Now, where would I actually go apply for a minority loan at? Just the bank, or is it a federal grant or a local grant, state or city grant?
So there are local options depending on where you live. I'm not sure what's going on in Fayetteville, to be honest, stuff like that. And then I know in California, I think there's a couple of state loans and stuff you can get. If you go to your local bank and you give them your business plan and you say, hey, I want to look for anything that could apply to me, they are usually pretty good at getting you in contact with people that are available to give you loans that they don't have. The other thing too, I mean, just Googling what you have nearby you, like startup loans. I don't know if there's still anything going on with the COVID PPP loans. Probably not at this point.
Yeah.
But like, I would just Google your options as far as that's concerned. But like they said before, you've got to get your business plan straight and in order. And I would suggest to start out small with getting a few like farmers markets under your belt, so that you can show them a tangible sale versus cost value to your business.
Right.
But yeah, I would just Google like what you have available to you in the city of Fayetteville and stuff like that. And as far as like loans go, I would contact the bank and be like, hey, do you know anyone that represents certain areas that I can look at for loans in this field, etc.
Okay. Well, thank you.
So Elijah, I just kind of want to piggyback on what everybody said. You know, coffee, as Jesse mentioned, we see coffee shops popping up everywhere and then they just go away. Sadly, coffee shops have a higher percentage of failure rates than some of our other businesses. I mean, businesses that open today, statistically, half of them will close within the first 5 years. Coffee shops are about 75%. Yet coffee has one of the highest markups of any product in the industry, right?
Yes.
I think you should stay in your lane. I'm with Ken. Put those blinders on. Stay in your lane. Focus on what you do best. But first, you must get your business plan together. You have to get that together. And again, you know, it is a roadmap. And I will not tell you that there won't be detours along the way, as Ken mentioned. In 5 years, when you look back, I can guarantee you you will be in a different place. So that's my suggestion. Let's work on that business plan. Reach out to the Small Business Center. My door is always open. If I can help, I'd be delighted to do so. I would like to provide you with Mr. Hill information from the Small Business Center. And again, they have that one-on-one counseling. There's lots of seminars. There's lots of things going over there to assist people just like you, Elijah. And they're free. It's free. So it would be very advantageous to you to utilize those resources. So I'm going to take the last question for today. What can this community do for you? How can we help you?
Well, you've actually helped me with a lot of tremendous knowledge. My biggest thing would just be actually, of course, I'm gonna come and do the business plan, but just if I could just help getting, I guess, a little funding, or if somebody knew somebody with a cheap trailer that they wanted to get rid of or something, to just try to help me just get going and get out there and just to try to get my revenues up a little further. That's mainly it. If I could just, I guess, still be able to connect with some of you guys and just pick your brains and just still gather more info, that would be a great help.
Well, we really appreciate it. Fantastic presentation. Glad that you could join us this morning. Again, we would love to invite you back and be part of our audience, but come back. Once you get that business plan created and you begin that journey, we would love to hear more about Two Bros Coffee. Okay, so we'd love to have you back. I will definitely be in touch. You guys, thank everybody for coming, participating today. Thanks for coming and supporting small business in our community. It was a pleasure having each of you. I hope you guys will join us next week. We have a great speaker on tap for next week. We have the Nurtured Nest. So if you guys are on Channel 5, and this lady does several of their little 5 on your side things, their tips of the week. So I hope you'll come back and join us next week. You guys have a fantastic week. Happy Wednesday, everybody.
All righty. Thank you.